Hi guys, so PMQs on Wednesday was pretty explosive. We had Boris Johnson really put under a lot of pressure by the opposition, and I think Keir Starmer, the leader of the opposition, really landed some serious blows on the Prime Minister. Of course, the issue of the day was the party that broke the rules, the cover-up, and the joking about it by the Prime Minister's press secretary. Starmer in this clip started with a powerful story that should have had Boris Johnson demonstrating some humility, but of course he's incapable of such a thing.
This pretends that further information has come to light. Give me a break. Yeah. He's still taking the public for fools. Yeah. On the day of the Downing Street party, Trisha Greenhall's mum phoned her. She was breathless and feverish.
I don't know if you could hear it, but there was a woman to the left on the opposite bench of Keir Starmer making some sort of noises. Well, Keir Starmer corrects her.
You might want to listen. Exactly. Trisha followed the rules and didn't visit her mum. Listening? 4 days later, on the day the Prime Minister's staff laughed about covering up the party, Trisha's mum was admitted to hospital. Trisha followed the rules and didn't visit. Trisha's mum spent Christmas Day in hospital. Trisha followed the rules and didn't visit. 2 days later, Trisha's mum died. What Trisha wants to know is this: why did the Prime Minister expect her to accept that the rules allowed a Downing Street party but didn't allow her to visit her dying mother?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the first thing to say is that, in common with everybody in this House, I extend my sympathies to the family of Trisha, and of course I understand.
And nobody believes you, Boris Johnson. You can't continue to lie all of your life and then expect people to believe you when you say that you feel sorry for what happened here.
Stand to Trisha and our family, and I understand the pain of everybody who has suffered throughout this pandemic. And I know that the implication that he is trying to draw, that the case that we're now investigating somehow should undermine public confidence in the measures that we're taking. I think that's the point that he's trying to make. But I may say to him, Mr. Speaker, I think it is a great mistake to try to play politics with this issue.
This is what really frustrates me about Boris Johnson, is that he does not care. Keir Starmer has described a story, a real story here, of somebody who couldn't be with their parent when that parent died. They would follow the rules that Boris Johnson's government put in place. And Boris Johnson's party, member of his party, donors, I don't know who was at this number 10 party, they did not follow the rules, and they're not being punished. On Wednesday, the press secretary resigned. Obviously, she was forced to resign to take the flak for this. And Boris Johnson later apologised about the laughing at the press conference. Not about the party, not about breaking the rules. But Boris Johnson has broken the rules on numerous occasions. We've seen it when it came to him visiting hospitals and not wearing a mask. This is somebody who does not give a crap. He doesn't give a crap about ordinary people. Allegedly, he burnt a £50 note or a £20 note in front of a homeless person in order to get into some sort of exclusive club. Why should we believe that this guy cares about ordinary people? He does not. He has demonstrated on numerous occasions that he does not.
And I think that is what he is doing. I think that is what he is doing. And the public, Mr. Speaker, will not like to see, I don't think the public do want to see confidence in their measures, in these measures undermined.
What is undermining the measures here? It's this bloody party. This Christmas party that's undermining the measures. Not Keir Starmer, not the stories that Keir Starmer has presented at the House of Commons. You have undermined the measures. And let's even ignore the party for a moment. And I've said about Boris Johnson not wearing a mask. And there have been people interviewed on public transport saying, well, I'm not wearing a mask because Boris Johnson doesn't wear one. You can't blame the opposition for this.
And we are taking I think they can see the difference, Mr. Speaker. We are taking the steps necessary to protect the public, above all, Mr. Speaker, by rolling out.
And this is his go-to every time. To the vaccine, rolling out the vaccine. When it came to last year, it was getting Brexit done. That's all he has left. He's an empty suit.
The vaccinations, and rather than focusing on the events of a year ago, Mr. Speaker, that is what we are focusing on, and that is what I think the public will understand.
No, the public are very angry about this, because one thing is corruption. Boris Johnson's party is extremely corrupt. But because corruption doesn't affect the voter, the average voter, directly, they're willing to let it go. But things like this affect the entire country, affect everyone. And if they see that Boris Johnson, Jacob Rees-Mogg and others are acting outside the rules that affect everyone else, they're not happy about that. And many people who've been interviewed recently have said that they would no longer support Boris Johnson. Now, do not take from this that they're going to punish the Conservative Party completely. No, they're more angry with Boris Johnson than they are with the Conservative Party. But that's enough for the moment.
Keir Starmer.
But it's not just the events of a year ago, is it? We are facing a new variant. Yep. We may well be in Plan B this afternoon. Even the Prime Minister, must understand the damage he's done to his credibility in enforcing the rules now and in the future. Exactly. Tricia made an enormous personal sacrifice to do the right thing, to follow the rules and help defeat the virus. That's what she was asked to do. Most people were just like Tricia last Christmas. No one was dreaming of a Zoom Christmas, turkey dinners for one, gifts exchanged at service stations. But the virus was out of control. 489 people died of COVID on the day of the Downing Street party.
So, this is a real figure. Those are real lives affected, while Boris Johnson probably, and members of Number 10 were celebrating. And isn't it interesting that nobody has been for the chop over this, apart from the press secretary, who allegedly was not even at the party?
So the British people put the health of others above themselves and followed the rules. Isn't the Prime Minister ashamed that his Downing Street couldn't do the same?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I've said what I've said about the events on December the 18th. They will be properly investigated, and Mr. Speaker, I will place a copy of the Cabinet Secretary's report in the library of the House of Commons. But what people should not do is lose focus on what we are trying to do now. Rather than, of course, we will deal with the events of what may or may not have taken place on the 18th of December last year, Mr. Speaker. But what I think we need to focus on today is what we're doing to roll out the vaccinations across this country and what we're doing to protect the public. And he is indeed right, Mr. Speaker, that we now have in the Omicron variant, a variant that is spreading much faster, Mr. Speaker, than any variant that we've seen before. And that is what we need, with great respect to the right honourable gentleman, to focus on. And that is why I ask everybody to go and...
That's all he has. He has nothing else. The rollout of the vaccine. So, he's undermining public health. He's undermining his own government's attempts to protect the public. And he wants people just to ignore that and focus on the rollout of the vaccine instead. Boris Johnson needs to resign. He is responsible for this. If a party that took place and he knew about it, he should have called it out. He should have reported it to the police. If he attended himself, then he needs to resign. I don't think he's going to resign over this. He may. It depends on the pressure that's been applied over the next number of days. On social media, it's an absolute disaster for Johnson, but I don't know if this is filtering through to the general public. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.